Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Remember all that stuff you learned in school? Turns out, a lot of it was totally bogus. From historical inaccuracies to straight-up scientific myths, your teachers might have been accidentally leading you astray. And don't even get me started on those outdated textbooks. Before we start, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you know when we post a new video. Get ready to have your mind blown because we're diving headfirst into 25 facts you learned in school that are flat out wrong. Fact 1. Milk is good for you. Remember those Got Milk ads with celebrities sporting milk mustaches? We were practically brainwashed into thinking milk was some kind of magical elixir. The idea that milk is essential for strong bones and overall health? That's largely the result of decades of aggressive marketing by the dairy industry and the US Department of Agriculture. They spent millions pushing this narrative and it worked like a charm. But here's the kicker. Humans are the only mammals who drink milk past infancy. And while milk does contain nutrients that are important for growing kids, there's little evidence to suggest it provides any significant benefits for adults. In fact, some studies even suggest a link between milk consumption and certain health problems. Fact 2. There's no gravity in space. We've all seen the astronauts floating effortlessly in their spaceships, completely weightless. It's a classic image we've all seen countless times, and it reinforces the idea that there's no gravity in space. The truth is, gravity exists everywhere in space. It's what holds the planets in orbit around the sun and keeps our very galaxy from flying apart. So why do astronauts look like they're defying gravity? It's all about free fall. Imagine jumping out of a plane, with a parachute of course. As you plummet towards Earth, you experience a feeling of weightlessness, as if gravity has suddenly disappeared. That's free fall, and it's the same thing astronauts experience in orbit. They're constantly falling towards Earth, but their horizontal speed is so great that they keep missing the planet and remain in a state of perpetual free fall. So yeah, gravity exists in space, and it's kind of a big deal. Fact 3. You can only taste certain things on certain parts of your tongue. Remember that diagram of the tongue you saw in elementary school? The one that looks like a pizza sliced into sections of sweet, sour, salty, and bitter? This whole tongue map myth started with a misinterpreted German study from the early 1900s. We have taste receptors all over our tongues detecting all flavors. It's not like you need a compass to find the sweet spot on your tongue. So go ahead, try that spicy pickle ice cream without fear. Fact 4. Pluto is not a planet. For decades, Pluto held a special place in our hearts and our solar system models as the 9th planet. Then, in a move colder than a comet's tail, the International Astronomical Union, or IAU for those in the know, decided to shake things up. You see, in 2005, astronomers found Eris, another massive space rock hanging out in our solar system's suburbs. Eris was even bigger than Pluto, which threw the IAU into a cosmic identity crisis. What makes a planet anyway? They needed a new definition, and unfortunately for Pluto, it didn't make the cut. Instead, they created a new category dwarf planet. So, Pluto got demoted, kind of like finding out your favorite band is now playing state fairs instead of stadiums. But here's the thing, Pluto is still a planet orbiting the sun, being its icy, mysterious self. It's just a dwarf planet. Fact 5. Blind as a bat. We've all heard the saying. But guess what? They're not. Their eyesight is often better than ours, especially at night. They rely on echolocation to see using sound waves. This helps them navigate and hunt in the dark. Their eyes aren't just for decoration. Alright, history buffs, gather round because it's time to dim the lights on a widely believed myth. Fact 6. Thomas Edison was the ingenious inventor of the light bulb. Not quite. The light bulb was the result of many innovations before Edison. Humphrey Davy demonstrated the first electric arc lamp in 1802. Edison's contribution was perfecting designs and making them viable. History often remembers the commercializer, not the original inventor. Fact 7. The chameleon changed colors for camouflage. It's an image popularized by cartoons and nature documentaries alike, but chameleons change color for more than just camouflage. Their colors reflect mood, temperature, and communication. Bright colors attract mates, while dark shades signal stress or aggression. Chameleons speak a language of color, far more fascinating than just blending in. Fact 8. The 7 Years' War was a minor conflict. Despite its name, the 7 Years' War was a major global conflict. It involved Europe, North America, Central America, and India, and is sometimes considered the first true world war. Key figures like Frederick the Great and George II played significant roles. The war had profound economic and political impacts. It reshaped the global balance of power and set the stage for future conflicts. Fact 9. You must drink 8 glasses of water a day. The truth is that you don't need to drink 8 glasses of water each day. Your body will still receive necessary hydration from other fluids and foods. It's probably best to drink a healthy amount of water and indulge in a moderate amount of less healthy beverages, like sugary ones. The amount of hydration needed also varies from person to person, since there are factors like age, health conditions, and activity level to take into consideration. Thirst, my friends, is one of those signals. Feeling parched? Have a drink. Doesn't have to be 8 glasses, doesn't have to be just water. Fact 10. Ferdinand Magellan, the intrepid explorer who circumnavigated the globe. Wait a minute. Did Magellan actually complete the journey? Spoiler alert, he didn't. He met an untimely end in the Philippines, taken down by a local skirmish. His crew finished the trip. History remembers Magellan, not the crew. Kinda makes you think, doesn't it? Fact 11. If you eat carrots, you'll have great eyesight. You know the drill, eat your carrots, see in the dark. But here's the thing, while carrots are good for you, they won't magically transform you into a nocturnal superhero. Carrots are packed with beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A, essential for good vision. However, eating carrots won't give you better vision than you already have. The myth likely originated during World War II. British propaganda claimed their pilots had exceptional night vision thanks to a diet rich in carrots. It was a clever ruse to hide their new radar technology from the Germans. So, while carrots won't give you X-ray vision, they're still a healthy snack. Fact 12. Convicted witches in the United States were burned at the stake. Sorry to extinguish that image, but, in reality, things played out a bit differently in colonial America. While it's true that accusations of witchcraft led to executions in Salem, Massachusetts, and other parts of New England, those accused weren't burned alive. See, the English, from whom the colonists inherited most of their legal system, had a different method of dealing with witches. They used hanging. And those English legal traditions, grim as they were, crossed the Atlantic and took root in the colonies. Fact 13. Microwave ovens can cause cancer. But wait, haven't you heard? Microwaves emit radiation. They'll give you cancer. Well, hold on to your hot pockets because I'm about to nuke that myth. Microwaves fall at the low energy end of the spectrum. The same kind of energy used by your cell phone and Wi-Fi router. Standard microwaves emit too little radiation to pose any real threat. So rest assured, your microwave popcorn isn't giving you cancer. Fact 14. The Alamo was a victory for Texas. Remember the Alamo? It's a rallying cry, a symbol of Texan courage and independence. But what does it actually mean? Because if you're picturing a triumphant victory against all odds, well, you've been fed a plate of historical revisionism, my friend. The truth about the Alamo is a bit more complicated. The Battle of the Alamo, you see, was a brutal defeat for the Texian army. Outnumbered and outgunned, the defenders of the Alamo mission, including folk heroes like Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie, fought bravely but ultimately lost to the Mexican forces led by General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. Now, the Alamo wasn't insignificant. The siege, which lasted 13 days, bought valuable time for the Texian army to regroup and ultimately defeat Santa Anna at the Battle of San Jacinto, securing Texan independence. But the Alamo itself, not a victory. So why teach something different? Well, after any war, both sides tend to shape the narrative to fit their own goals. In the case of Texas, the Alamo, despite its tragic end, became a symbol of resistance against tyranny, a rallying point for Texan pride. Fact 15. Humans have 5 senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. Turns out reducing ourselves to just those 5 is a massive oversimplification. Our bodies are way more perceptive. Take balance, for example. You don't fall over when you close your eyes, right? That's thanks to your inner ear, which acts like a biological gyroscope. Or how about temperature? You can feel the difference between a hot stove and an ice cube, and don't even get me started on pain. It's its own complex sensory system. We all have way more than 5 senses. Fact 16. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It sounds nice, but let's peel back the layers of this fruity proverb. Apples have vitamin C and fiber, but they're not a magical shield. The body needs a complex cocktail of nutrients to function properly. Enjoy your apple, but remember, no single food holds the key to well-being. Fact 17. Goldfish have a 3-second memory. Goldfish aren't the forgetful simpletons we've made them out to be. Studies have shown that goldfish can remember things for months, not seconds. They can learn to recognize their owners, navigate mazes, and even remember specific times they were fed. In fact, some researchers argue that goldfish are actually quite intelligent, capable of complex learning and problem solving. So how did this myth become so widespread? Well, like many misconceptions, it probably stems from a kernel of truth that's been blown out of proportion. Goldfish do have a different kind of memory than humans. Their short-term memory is relatively limited, but their long-term memory is quite impressive. Fact 18. When you swallow gum, it stays in your body for 7 years. Gum isn't exactly a dietary delight, it's made to be chewed, not digested. Our bodies are great at breaking down most foods, but gum's got this superpower indigestibility. But it doesn't set up camp in your stomach for years. Think of your digestive system like a lazy river, slowly pushing along whatever enters. Gum hops on that river, takes a scenic ride, and eventually gets shown the exit. Fact 19. Vikings wore horned helmets. Wrong. Those horns are as accurate as a unicorn on a longship. Thanks, Wagnerian opera. You really messed with our perception of history. The only Viking helmet ever found is hornless. Imagine how impractical horns would be in battle. Fact 20. Sharks don't get cancer or shark cartilage cures cancer. There's absolutely no scientific evidence to support any of it. In fact, scientists have documented cases of tumors in sharks. Just like any other living creature, sharks can fall victim to this disease. They're not invincible, and they're certainly not a source of miracle cancer cures. Fact 21. Dropping a penny from a tall building could kill someone. If someone drops a penny from the top of the Empire State Building, air resistance would slow it down. The penny reaches terminal velocity, around 25 miles per hour. It'd hurt, like a flick on the forehead, but not deadly. Fact 22. In space, there is no sound. I'm about to ruin the vacuum of space for you. Sound is vibrations traveling through a medium like air or water. In space, there's no air for those vibrations to travel through. But space isn't a perfect vacuum. Sound can travel through gas, just not as efficiently as through air. There are faint sounds out there, waiting to be heard by the right instruments. Fact 23. Toilets flush backward in the southern hemisphere. It's a classic fact that people love to spout off, but guess what? It's completely bogus. The Coriolis effect is real, yes. It's a force caused by the Earth's rotation, and it does influence large-scale weather patterns, making hurricanes spin a certain way above and below the equator. But toilets are way too small for the Coriolis effect to have any noticeable impact. The direction your toilet flushes depends entirely on the design of the toilet itself, like the shape of the bowl and the angle of the jets. Fact 24. The moon has a dark side. Well, prepare to have your mind blown because, yet again, what you learned in school is wrong. The moon doesn't have a dark side, it's all a big misunderstanding. The moon, like the Earth, rotates on its axis. And while it does have a side that always faces away from us, that doesn't mean it's perpetually shrouded in darkness. It simply means we never get to see it from Earth. The sun shines on that dark side just as much as it does on the side we see. What we perceive as the dark side is simply a result of the moon's synchronous rotation. It takes the moon about the same amount of time to orbit the Earth as it does to rotate once on its axis. So, from our perspective, it looks like the same side is always facing us. Fact 25. Seasons are caused by the Earth's distance from the sun. That's not quite right. The real reason we experience seasons is due to the tilt of the Earth's axis. The Earth is tilted at an angle of about 23.5 degrees relative to its orbit around the sun. This tilt means that different parts of the Earth receive varying amounts of sunlight throughout the year. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, it experiences summer because the sun's rays hit it more directly. Conversely, when it's tilted away, the sun's rays are more spread out, leading to winter. The opposite happens in the southern hemisphere. This simple tilt is responsible for the changing seasons that shape so much of our natural world. That's it for today's dose of truth bombs. Hopefully made you question even more things you learned in school. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating facts. Keep discovering one fact at a time.